Most people believe that the internet rewards the best ideas. If something is true, logical, and supported by evidence, it should naturally rise to the top. That sounds fair. That sounds rational. But that is not how the digital world actually works. Online platforms are not designed to promote truth. They are designed to maximize engagement. Clicks, shares, comments, watch time. These are the real metrics. And the uncomfortable reality is this: extreme content generates more engagement than balanced truth. Outrage spreads faster than nuance. Bold claims travel further than careful analysis. Emotional reactions outperform slow thinking. Over time, this creates a system where intensity gets amplified, even when accuracy gets ignored. In this video, we will break down why the internet structurally rewards extremes, how algorithms amplify emotional content, why polarization keeps increasing, and what this means for anyone trying to think clearly in a noisy digital world. Because once you understand the incentives behind the system, you stop confusing visibility with truth. The game the internet is playing. Most people believe the internet is a place where the best ideas win. If something is true, logical, and well supported by evidence, it should naturally rise to the top. That feels fair. That feels rational. But the digital world does not operate purely on truth. It operates on attention. To understand this, we need to understand how online platforms function. Social media platforms, video platforms, and news websites are driven by engagement. Engagement means clicks, shares, comments, watch time, and reactions. The more engagement a piece of content generates, the more the algorithm pushes it to others. Visibility is tied to interaction, not necessarily accuracy. Now think about what kind of content generates the most engagement. Calm, balanced, nuanced explanations usually do not trigger strong reactions. But extreme opinions do. Outrage spreads faster than careful analysis. Fear travels faster than facts. Bold claims get more clicks than cautious conclusions. This is the foundation of the problem. The internet is not structured as a truth detection machine. It is structured as an engagement maximizing machine. And when engagement becomes the main metric, extreme content naturally gets rewarded. In this video, we will break down why that happens, how it shapes online culture, and what it means for anyone trying to think clearly in a digital world. Algorithms optimize for engagement, not accuracy. To understand why extremes spread faster than truth, we must look at algorithms. Algorithms are automated systems that decide what content appears on your screen. They analyze user behavior, what you click, how long you watch, what you comment on, and then prioritize similar content. Their goal is simple: keep you engaged for as long as possible. Notice something important here: the algorithm is not programmed to measure truth. It does not evaluate whether a statement is accurate, balanced, or supported by evidence. It measures behavior. If people react strongly to something, the algorithm interprets that as valuable content. More reactions mean more distribution. This creates a structural incentive. Content creators quickly learn that emotional intensity drives engagement. If moderate opinions receive little attention but extreme statements trigger debate, outrage, and sharing, the rational choice, within that system, is to move toward the extreme. Over time, this shifts the tone of online conversation. The algorithm does not have political bias or moral intention. It has an optimization function. That function is engagement. And engagement often correlates with strong emotion rather than careful truth-seeking. When emotional intensity becomes the fuel of visibility, extremes naturally outperform nuance. Why extreme content spreads faster? Human psychology plays a major role in this dynamic. Our brains are naturally drawn to intensity. From an evolutionary perspective, strong signals, danger, conflict, excitement, demanded immediate attention. A calm situation did not require urgent focus. A potential threat did. Extreme content activates these ancient systems. Headlines that say, "everything is collapsing," or "this will change everything forever," trigger urgency. They create a sense of importance. Your brain prioritizes them because they feel significant. Neutral statements like, "the situation is complex," do not generate the same reaction. There is also a social factor. People are more likely to share content that provokes emotion. Anger, shock, and moral outrage increase the likelihood of reposting or commenting. When something feels extreme, it feels worth reacting to. And reaction is the currency of the internet. This does not mean extreme content is always false. Sometimes strong claims are accurate. But the system favors intensity regardless of truth value. That means exaggeration, simplification, and polarization often outperform careful reasoning. And once that pattern becomes normalized, the online environment gradually shifts toward extremes as the default tone. Nuance is quiet, extremes are loud. Truth is often complicated. Real-world issues usually involve multiple variables, trade-offs, uncertainties, and incomplete data. A balanced explanation requires time. It requires context. It sometimes requires saying, "We don't know yet." But nuance is quiet. It does not shock. It does not provoke immediate reaction. Extremes, on the other hand, are simple. They reduce complex issues into clear villains and heroes. They remove uncertainty. They offer emotional clarity. When something is framed in absolute terms, always, never, everyone, no one, it becomes easier to process. The brain prefers cognitive simplicity, especially in fast-scrolling environments. The structure of online platforms amplifies this difference. Short posts, short videos, limited characters. These formats reward simplified messages. There is less space for layered explanation. As a result, content that compresses complexity into bold statements travels further. Over time, this creates a distortion. Moderate voices appear weaker because they are less visible. Extreme voices appear dominant because they are constantly circulating. The loudest message becomes the most familiar, and familiarity begins to feel like truth. That is how nuance gets drowned out in a system that rewards volume over balance. Polarization as a byproduct of engagement. When extreme content consistently receives more visibility, a predictable outcome emerges: polarization. Polarization means groups moving further apart in their beliefs and becoming less willing to understand opposing perspectives. It is not always intentional. It is often a structural byproduct of how the internet rewards engagement. When you interact with content that aligns with your existing views, algorithms show you more of it. Over time, your feed becomes increasingly one-sided. You see stronger versions of your own beliefs repeated and reinforced. Opposing viewpoints either disappear or appear only in exaggerated, extreme forms. This selective exposure creates echo chambers. Inside an echo chamber, ideas bounce back and become amplified. Moderate voices within the group may seem weak compared to more radical voices, because stronger opinions generate more interaction. Gradually, the internal standard shifts toward intensity. The result is a divided digital environment where each side perceives the other as extreme. The system does not directly command people to polarize. It simply rewards content that generates reaction. And reaction often increases when opinions become sharper, louder, and more absolute. Over time, engagement-driven amplification slowly reshapes the tone of public discourse. Incentives shape behavior. Whenever a system rewards certain behaviors, people adapt to those rewards. This is a basic principle of economics and psychology. If a behavior brings attention, status, or income, more people will repeat it. Online platforms reward engagement. Engagement increases with intensity, so intensity becomes incentivized. Content creators quickly learn this pattern. A balanced video may receive moderate views. A dramatic title with a bold claim may receive significantly more. Over time, creators face pressure, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, to push stronger angles. The shift does not always begin with dishonesty. It often begins with optimization. Even traditional media is affected. Headlines become sharper. Debates become more confrontational. Discussions are framed as battles instead of explorations. Because conflict generates attention, attention generates revenue, and revenue sustains the system. This is not about individual morality. It is about structural incentives. When visibility and income are tied to engagement metrics, and engagement favors extremes, the environment gradually selects for extreme voices. The internet does not need to punish truth directly. It only needs to reward intensity more consistently than nuance. Over time, that difference compounds. The illusion of majority. When extreme content is amplified repeatedly, it creates something powerful, the illusion of majority. If you constantly see a loud opinion online, you may begin to believe that everyone thinks that way. But visibility does not equal consensus. It often reflects algorithmic amplification, not actual population distribution. A small but highly active group can dominate online spaces. If they post frequently, comment aggressively, and share intensely, their presence becomes highly visible. Meanwhile, moderate or indifferent individuals may remain silent. Silence, however, does not get amplified. Activity does. This imbalance distorts perception. You might assume an issue is universally extreme because that is what appears on your feed. But your feed is personalized and optimized for engagement. It does not represent the full spectrum of views. It represents what keeps you interacting. Over time, this illusion can influence behavior. People may shift their expressed opinions because they believe the extreme view is dominant. This is known as social conformity pressure. When visibility creates perceived majority, it can reshape discourse, even if the actual majority is more moderate. The internet does not need a real consensus to create perceived dominance. It only needs amplification.